Well guys, we have run into a big problem over here on the Lucas. I know the last clip was me showing you working with the oiling system, and we got about half of that done. And while I was blowing out a lot of the oil lines, I cracked the phenolic on the bottom of the actual saddle. And I did that because I was blowing air up through one of the holes, and the phenolic is epoxied on, and with age, I guess the epoxy had separated and the line was clogged, so the air basically hit a clog and went back underneath the phenolic and popped the phenolic down and it cracked. That's not the end of the world, but not ideal, but under further inspection, the other side of the phenolic is basically coming off, and as much as I hate to do it, now would be the time to make it right, and that's how these projects go. So as much as I wanted to fix the oiling system, slide it back on, be done with it, we're not going to be able to do that, at least not in good faith, because the only thing worse than letting it go as it is and just crossing our fingers is being in the middle of a job where we need it and shooting out a phenolic strip and being in for, you know, a 100-hour repair. And that is not any fun. So right now, we don't technically need the machine. It'd be nice to have, but we're gonna do what we always do. We're gonna do it right. Now, I am pretty busy now, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the help of Daniel to come in here. I've already spoken with him, and he's gonna do everything in terms of removing the old phenolic and installing the new phenolic, cutting the oil grooves, cutting the air grooves, and scraping the phenolic to the base. But the main issue that he faces is removing and reinstalling the knee repeatedly because this knee/saddle is super heavy. It's about 6,000 pounds. That's why I tried to avoid taking it off. And because I placed it in this orientation, we can't get the forklift around the front. And if we do a gantry crane, we could lift it up, but we would literally need to slide the crane forward and then over, rotisserie it, adjust it, and do the same thing. It would be a nightmare. So I've been thinking about how to solve this problem for about 3 weeks, and what I came up with was it would actually just be easier if I rotated the machine 90 degrees. That would allow me to use a forklift instead of having to buy/make a jib crane or a gantry, which I don't really want. I want a jib crane anyway, and I don't want a gantry. So it would eliminate that, and I think it would allow Daniel to come in here and use a forklift from the front, take it off and put it on with tons of access in the front, and do it correctly. But in order to do that, we need two things. One, we need a forklift that can lift this knee, and mine is about a 5K, and this is 600 to 6,500 pounds. And the second thing, we need to rotate this 31,000 pound beast, and we have a bunch of crap in the way. So step one, I've already accomplished. We bought a forklift specifically because I need to replace mine, and also for this job. We got it cheap, we fixed it. We have a separate video on that. But also we need to move all this stuff and then go through the process of rotating this machine. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this bench and all this junk, and then when we come back, we'll probably have to slide the knee back on, and then we can go through the process of rotating this entire beast 90 degrees. So with that being said, let me get to work, and we'll kind of bring you along for the process. All right, we got everything moved out of the way, and you can see we have a ton of room in front of the machine. We got the knee slid back on, so we don't got to worry about that falling off. And now we get to see how much work it's going to take to move this 90 degrees. I'm confident that we can do it relatively easily, but it is a heavy machine. So my game plan is to go ahead and disconnect the power so it's not attached to the wall, and start with a toe jack on the front and get these up off the ground. Once we do that, we can use our 15-ton Hillman machinery movers, and I want to put it on 3 skates, probably 1 in the front and 2 in the back, or vice versa. And once we get it on the skates, then hopefully what we can do is get the forklift over here and just pull on this side, and we'll see, but maybe if we're lucky we can just pull the front all the way over. So this is a heavy beast, but we'll see what we can do. Complete failure, as I expected. Highly doubtful about this one, but we're going to give it a shot. All right, well, we're ready to go. We got everything up on the 15-ton rollers. I got the entire floor swept and vacuumed. Well, that's really important to make sure we don't hit a pebble or a rock when we're moving this. And everything should go pretty smooth. However, this floor is pretty weak. I don't know what it is. It's probably 4-inch, way undersized for this weight. And we have this on 4 points. So my main concern is that these rollers are gonna break through. I had a small little pad and it punched a 3-inch hole, a 2-inch hole rather, right in the concrete when the weight came down. So it seems fine now, but we're just gonna watch it, and we'll start by pulling on that side. And unfortunately, I don't have 2 people, so we're gonna take it slow. You really wanna make sure a roller doesn't kick out, so I'll move it a little bit, stop, check the rollers, kind of go from there. So we'll start by that side and we'll just see how it goes. We got this guy into position, and overall it wasn't too bad. The new forklift was a champ, and our awesome dollies did a great job. 31,000 pounds, no problem. Next step is to go ahead and get the knee pulled off, which will give us access to some of the leveling bolts. I'm gonna bring Matthew over here and let him loose for the day, and he's gonna come and remove all of the leveling bolts, get them cleaned up on the wire wheel, anti-seize them, and go ahead and get them reinstalled. That way, when I make the leveling pads, the grunt work of that is kind of taken care of. It's gonna be a medium-sized job just because we got like 20, 25 leveling bolts on this machine. And then once we get the pads made and the bolts back run down, we can give Daniel a call, and he'll be able to come over here and put the knee on and off with no problem and level the machine and start working on getting the scraping started. So with all that, let's get started by pulling this knee off and give our forklift the true test. Definitely lifted it. All right, a little bit of an update here. So Matthew's been working on these threaded rods here for about 8 or 10 hours, and he has taken all the bolts out. Each of these bolts have either a locking collar or a nut, and he's gone and wire wheeled all of these, and he's also cleaned out the holes with compressed air and some brake clean so that these thread in nice, and then he's using some anti-seize to go ahead and get these reinstalled. So the goal is to make sure that these can thread in hand tight and that the locking collar spins freely. We did have one casualty. It's probably going to be difficult to see, but the locking nut basically seized on here, and in order to get it off, I had to cut it off, and there's a little bit of an area here that's damaged. So we are going to be having to make one of these and another one of these nuts. They seem somewhat hard. We'll probably make them out of 4140, and probably won't matter too much, but that's that. So there were the ones in the middle, which look like this, kind of interesting, different thread pitch. And then the ones on the outside are two different styles. We have one style like this, and then the other one is basically just a set screw with a nut. So this is a lot of repetitive work, and it's not the most exciting, but it just means that when we go to level this machine in, that things will go smoothly when me and Daniel do that. Also, our wheels or dollies that we had on this side settled into the floor. The floor here is really not ideal, so I'll be excited to get these pads in place as soon as possible so that we can distribute the load evenly on these and then kind of go from there. So that being said, we'll move on to the next step. I'll let Matthew finish up getting these installed and cleaned up, and I'll go ahead and fix this and go ahead and make some leveling feet. We went ahead and got these leveling feet knocked out, and we did it off camera. They're real simple and repetitive. We have several different sizes here. We have the 5.5 inch, we have the 5 inch, the 4 inch, and we have a taller 5 inch. Basically what we're doing is I had just enough material to make the larger ones. The material is quite pricey, and these are all scrap pieces from previous jobs. So I wanted to make as much of these larger diameter as possible, mainly because our concrete is pretty weak sauce. I think it's about 4 inches, and it's definitely not where it needs to be. So these are very overkill, but I figured the more we can sort of spread out the weight, the better it's going to be on our concrete. So the main jacking points have the largest diameter pad, and then the second most critical joints have the next largest diameter, and these smaller ones are for the middle support. As far as the jack bolts, I know we already talked about it, so I'm not going to get too much into it. We went ahead and we did make 2 of these off camera. We made them just with some threaded rod, so real simple. I just turned down the ends, put a hex on the end. I went ahead and fixed this. This one was square drive, was all rounded. So we're all set to go with that. The ones in the back, I went ahead and purchased a tap, so I'm just going to run the tap through to clean it up. We'll get these in and we'll get the machine set up and get ready to be leveled. Now I've talked to Daniel and confirmed he is locked and loaded. He is going to be addressing the saddle with the phenolic, and we'll do a separate video on that because that'll be quite interesting. But I'm just trying to prep for him to get the machine leveled and in place so he can do what he needs to do. So with that being said, let me get these over to the machine and we'll go ahead and get this machine set up on the leveling pads. Well, what should be something relatively easy has turned into a little bit of a disaster. Matthew has done an excellent job getting the front 16 jacking bolts in and operating nice and easy. At the time I didn't have a tap for him, but he was able to clean out the holes with brake clean and air, run the jack bolts up and down, anti-seize them, and they're beautiful. You can turn them by hand. My job was to come in today, beautiful Saturday, install the last 2 major jack bolts and throw the leveling pads under and start leveling this beast. The main issue we're running into is the most important jack bolt, which happens to be in the most volatile area of my floor back here. The hole is actually stretched. So I have a tap which I ran through several times, but this beautiful OSG tap only has threads on about 1 inch, and the hole is about 2.5 inches in diameter, or in length. So I can run it through nice and easy, but it's not really contacting the entire thread. And as a result, when I went to put in the jack bolt, it goes in about 1 inch and stops. So I need to order a new tap that has a longer threaded section so it can clean up that entire thing in one shot. And then I did end up taking about 15 thousandths off the jack bolt to try to get it to be a looser fit. And by the time we fix that, this nut or jack bolt will probably need to be remade. So I'm going to deal with that later. For now, we're going to start on the other side. I already got the other jack bolt in, went in super easy. So we got that one in, we got 1 leveling pad in. We're going to slide the leveling pad in the front and just sort of work around the machine, and hopefully it goes smoothly from here. Of course,